Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we are diving deep into the incredible 30-year saga of the Foo Fighters. And let me tell you, this isn't just a story about huge rock anthems. It's really a story about survival, about a band with an almost unbelievable talent for weathering any storm. You see, the Foo Fighters' story isn't just about the music. It's about this incredible resilience. They have this uncanny, consistent ability to take the absolute worst moments, these profound crises, and turn them into creative fuel. It's a pattern we're going to see over and over and over again. So that's the big question, isn't it? How on earth did a musical project born from one of the deepest tragedies in rock history become this global institution, a band that could handle storms that would have completely wiped out anyone else?
To really get the Foo Fighters, you have to start at the beginning. And that beginning is the first most profound crisis of them all, the sudden, tragic end of Nirvana back in 1994.
I mean, just imagine being Dave Grohl at that moment. The future wasn't just blank, it was gone. For years, he'd been writing songs all by himself, but he was always too intimidated by Kurt Cobain's genius to show them to anyone. So when Nirvana ended, he was just adrift. He couldn't even bring himself to listen to music. But what happened next was incredibly fast. By October 1994, just months after it all fell apart, Grohl booked 6 days in his studio. And his goal? It wasn't to start some new band. It was just to record all these songs he had kicking around. It was pure therapy, turning all that grief into immediate, powerful action. And get this, in that studio, he played nearly every single instrument himself. Drums, bass, guitar, all the vocals, you name it. But he called the project Foo Fighters, this mysterious band name, because he wanted people to judge the music for what it was, without the giant shadow of Nirvana hanging over every single note. So those tapes he sent out to friends, they created this massive buzz in the music industry. And all of a sudden, this personal, one-man project has a major label record deal. And that's when Grohl faced his next huge challenge. How do you turn a solo vision into a real, actual band? Well, it wasn't easy. The early years were basically a revolving door of band members. Trying to go from a solo project to a real, democratic band, it created a lot of friction, especially when they were making their second album, The Color and the Shape. And here's where it all came to a head. Think about it. You're the drummer in a band, led by Dave Grohl, one of the greatest rock drummers of all time. The pressure is immense. And Grohl was so unhappy with the drum parts for that second album that he secretly went in and re-recorded all of them himself. That set an incredibly high bar, and it led directly to Taylor Hawkins, who wasn't just a monster player but the perfect personality. His arrival cemented the band's pour for the next 20-plus years. Okay, so the band is finally solid. But the next crisis, it didn't come from inside the band. No, this time, the threat was coming from the entire music industry, the rise of digital recording, and what Grohl saw as this kind of artificial, lifeless perfection. Grohl was not shy about his feelings. He said software like Pro Tools was literally sucking the life out of music. He hated that clean cut-and-paste perfection. He felt it was a threat to the raw human energy of rock and roll. So what did he do? He decided to start a rebellion. And this is just fantastic. To make their point, for their 2011 album, Wasting Light, they went to extremes. They got back together with Nirvana's producer, Butch Vig, and they recorded the whole thing in Dave Grohl's garage, on analog tape. The rules were simple: no computers, no digital fixes, no safety net. And their commitment to this was, well, absolute. At one point, one of the master tapes literally started to flake and disintegrate. When Butch Vig suggested maybe making a digital backup just in case, Grohl threatened to firebomb any computer brought into his house. They would rather risk losing a take forever than compromise their vision. But for all their fights against the industry, the band's most devastating crisis would arrive in 2022. It was a loss that echoed the tragedy of their very origins and honestly threatened their entire existence. The death of Taylor Hawkins while the band was on tour was just a catastrophic blow. He was so much more than their drummer. He was the rhythmic engine, Grohl's best friend, his creative soulmate. He was the heart of the band. The loss was just heartbreaking for everyone. The band canceled everything and just went silent. And the whole world was watching, asking the same question. Is this it? Can they possibly come back from something like this? And by now, you know the answer. How do the Foo Fighters respond to a crisis?
They make music. Grohl went back behind the drum kit himself to record the album, but here we are. It's a powerful, raw, and beautiful record that processes their grief, not just for Hawkins, but also for Grohl's mother, who had recently passed away too. It was their way of saying they had to find a way to carry on.
So how do you fill those shoes? Well, in a fascinating move, after touring with the amazing Josh Freese, they brought in Ilan Rubin from Nine Inch Nails to be their new permanent drummer. It ended up working like a kind of rare percussion swap between two rock giants, as Freese then went back to playing with Nine. It just shows you how close-knit that world of elite rock musicians really is.
So here we are, approaching their 30th anniversary. And you might think things would finally calm down, right? Nope. The cycle of crisis and resilience just keeps on going. Just in late 2024, the band hit another speed bump. A personal scandal surrounding Dave Grohl put that whole nicest guy in rock image to the test, and it forced the band to step out of the spotlight for a bit and just regroup. Yet through every single one of these storms, just look at the legacy. It's undeniable. We're talking 15 Grammy Awards, including a record-setting 5 wins for Best Rock Album, over 30 million records sold around the world. The staying power is written right there in the numbers. Oh, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Yeah, in 2021, they walked right in on their very first year of eligibility. That pretty much tells you everything you need to know about their immediate and lasting impact. And true to form, they're back. Of course they are. Emerging from their latest challenge, they're hitting their 30th anniversary by announcing a massive stadium tour for 2026. It just proves, again and again, that this machine is relentless. It will not stop. So when you boil it all down, the story of the Foo Fighters is just a masterclass in resilience. It's proof that for some people, the simple act of creating, of just moving forward, is the ultimate survival tool. It leaves you with one last thought, doesn't it? For a band that has already conquered death, despair, and 3 decades of chaos, what could possibly be next?